Call the meeting to order on this Monday, November 11th, which, as was just mentioned by Reverend Deal, is Veterans Day. And I'd also like to add that we do need to honor those who serve our country in the past, those who are serving presently, and be very thankful for what they provide for us. And we will continue on now with the oath of office.
I can have the mayor and her family come to the podium. You will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of mayor
the duties of the office of mayor
for the city of Port
for
Huron
the city of Port Huron
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. And then if I can have the remaining council members that were just reelected or elected. And then if you want to come down here and have your family members also stand behind you. If you'd like.
Thomas Johnson and Marshall Ruiz family, come on down. What do you call them? No, taking over is if I just take his family and adopt them, period. Come on in, Anita. Okay.
There's a lot of you. Yeah, do you guys want to come in front? Okay, if you guys will raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office of City Council Member
the office of City Council Member
for the City of Port Huron
for the City of Port Huron
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to everybody, and we will move forward with the roll call.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilmember Moeller.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Rupp.
Here. This is the time for appointment of the mayor pro tem per the charter, and I will open the floor for nominations for the appointment of mayor pro tem.
Mayor Rupp.
Boy, I get two of you at the same time.
I'd like
Councilmember
to
Ruiz.
take this time and nominate and continue the great service she's done in the past, Sherry Archibald, if she would consider it, and even if she doesn't consider it, I'd still like to nominate her.
Well,
I think she's done a wonderful job, and I'd like to see a continuation of that in leadership of the council.
support.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? We'll close the nominations, and as there's no one else, I'll just say all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sherry, you are now Mayor Pro Tem still. And I think you'll have another oath of office to take for that. No.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
the office of Mayor Pro Tem
the office of Mayor Pro Tem
for the City of Port Huron
for the City of Port Huron
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to the minutes. And we have the regular meeting of October 28th, the special meeting of October the 30th. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris, is there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. And then we'll move on to presentations.
Number one is Mayor Rep will present to Councilmember Rachel Cole with a memento of thanks for her service.
Rachel, if you'll join me at the podium. And I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to take it back. And what it is it's a brick. It says Port Huron City Council, Rachel Cole, 2011 through 2013, in recognition of your service, and it's going to be put in the International Flag Plaza. So I'd just like you to look at it, but you can hold it.
It is very heavy.
And then I will take it back, and they will put it up there, and I'm sure someone will let you know where it's going to be, so you can go up and look at it.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Memorializes you, and thank you very much for
Thank you.
your service. Thank you. And
Thank
if you'd
you.
like to say a few words?
Thank you again, Mayor Rep and council members. It really has been an honor to serve. I'm going to try to do this. And I want to talk to the residents as well. As you can imagine, I'm disappointed I don't get to sit up here again. But I do know I still have a lot to offer, and I've heard from a lot of people too to please stay involved. And I want to assure you that those really are my intentions. It'll just be a different type of role. I really am optimistic about the future. I know some great things have started in the 2 years that I had an opportunity to serve with our neighborhoods and push those housing issues to the forefront, and I'm really excited that that's coming to life, and I see those solutions on the horizon, but I know it's going to be up to this council to continue to move them forward, so I'm urging you to do that. Like I said, my intentions are to continue my involvement as a neighborhood leader and and still have a voice in these neighborhood housing issues, because that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm not going to let those issues rest, and I'm going to ask that you would do the same. Again, it really has been an honor to serve. I don't know any other way to say it. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of something such a big deal in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. We'll move on now to the public comment portion of our agenda, and if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council, you can come to the podium and give us your name, and you do have 4 minutes.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor Rupp, and Bruce Brown, and Sue Chow. I have a Post-it note that I have three topics I want to talk about. If it's not under the city charter guidelines, just stop me.
Could you give us your name before you start?
Yes, Joanne Rumford, 3540 Parkway Drive, Apartment 9 in Port Huron, Michigan.
Thank you.
Okay, the first one is my water bill is replacing my cable bill. Thank you, Councilman Lewandowski. I voted for you this election. Also, I would like to talk about the city council meetings in the future will probably be more balanced now and won't be directed at Councilman Ken Harris and Councilman Brian Moeller. Number 2, Wi-Fi for the entire city of Port Huron, I feel, would be a plus for the residents here, not just for downtown. I don't know if you could do a feasibility study on that, Bruce Brown, but not everything for a feasibility study should be directed just for profit, And I feel like it might be something, because there's not that many people living here in Port Huron, for free Wi-Fi. In the past, there's been studies done, but it's mostly done for business and profit. And number 3 is the poverty and crime in Port Huron. The police protection, the Department of Public Safety, and Police Department, they can only reach so far. There's also other law enforcement agencies in the city and also in protecting the city and also protecting St. Clair County, Michigan, and the United States. And I want to thank them. And number 3, or actually 5, my final topic I want to talk about is donating to the Fraternal Order of Police. I've had my 2 checks. I've got one in the mail right now, and there's one that I had to do a stop payment on. It's for donations. So I just thought I'd bring that to the attention of Jim Reeves. Okay, and I guess that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed, and we'll move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember. And Councilmember Ashford. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. The items on the consent agenda, it was receiving and filing the election results for the council and for the charter amendment proposition regarding the street millage, which did pass. Also, it was approving public hearings for November the 25th on establishment of an obsolete property rehabilitation act district, and for the same act for a certificate at 911 Military Street, and to hear comments on the proposed use of .72 acres of city-owned walkway property in the front of Maritime Center as mitigation property for a previous grant agreement, and confirming and approving single-lot special assessments for the cost of removing noxious weeds, unlawful growths, and lighting factors. And we now will move on to, from the city manager, number 1.
Is accepting the quotes of Ice Brigade in the amount of $8,500 for ice carving services and Wall Tent in the amount of $12,981 for tent rental services for Chili Fest.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris, is there discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
I was fortunate enough to talk to Nancy Windsor last week, and anybody that went to Chili Fest last year will know how successful it was, and at times we've run out of space, and it just made it hard to do, and I think that what she's going to do this year is going to help us attract more people and keep them downtown, so I want to thank her and hope this gets approved.
Maybe Nancy would like to come up and tell us a little about it.
Mayor and City Council, yes, we're excited for another year of Chili Fest on the 24th and 25th with Silver Sticks again this year. Probably saw a little increase from last year, and what Ken's referring to is we're hoping to get enough sponsorship to add some maybe Friday entertainment to our schedule. But again, this program always pays for itself, so we'll be, actually between the time that you got this and today, we've already raised another $3,500, so the community has been very good to us on this event, and we're very fortunate. So we'll be adding that. We also are adding a second tent for just the chili area because we ran out of room last year, which is a good problem. So we're very excited for another year.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Nancy?
I'm not revealing anything yet because
No, you were
it's way too early.
You were pretty general, so that's piques the excitement, right?
Got to keep some secrets around here.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Move on to, from the city manager, number 2.
Is approving an amendment to the 2012-2013 budget to provide for year-end transfers.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lewandowski, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Ruiz. Is there discussion?
Mayor, I would ask if Mr. Brown could give us a few highlights from this.
I'll succeed to Mr. Brennan, who is all ready to go on highlights.
Good.
Mayor and council, Plant Moran completed their field work last week, and the results in the general fund were sufficiently positive to be able to set aside money for certain projects to be funded out of the 2013-14 budget, which is the year that we're currently in. For the year that ended on June 30th of 2013, or last year, revenues were approximately $260,000 more than expected, and expenditures were approximately $100,000 less than expected. The item that you have before you would set aside that $360,000 from the 2012-13 budget into the land purchase fund. We would then be coming back to you during the December 9th meeting in order to amend the 2013-14 budget, and then those funds would be used to pay for the Riverside Drive boat ramp extension, the pool improvements, and the stepped-up code enforcement. All of those activities were not anticipated in the original budget, so that will give us some funding for those projects.
Any questions for Mr. Brennan? Any questions? You're all set?
I'm all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Mayor Rapp.
Yes. We'll move on to resolutions. Number 1.
Is authorizing 19 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Ashford. Is there discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Rapp.
Yes. We'll move on to resolution number 2.
Is approving the purchase of a rescue patrol craft for the Department of Public Safety with 75% of the cost approved as the federal share of the Port Security Grant Program.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember
I'll
Harris.
ask Chief Reeves to step up there. I had a nice conversation with Mr. Reeves last week, and I know I have a reputation for not voting for things that we don't have monies for, but I think with this project here and the donation from Jim Atchison, I think we're going to move forward in the right direction, so I'll let Chief Reeves talk about it.
Mayor, Council, and City Manager Brown, originally when this boat grant came to you through former Chief Ike, this was a $275,000 grant where the city's match was almost $70,000 of it. It was a 30-foot boat with a 10-foot beam and had multiple fire pumps, and it was a firefighting vessel on the water. And when I took over police and fire operations, I reviewed that grant and reviewed our ability to sustain it, and candidly, I didn't feel that we could sustain that boat and that there wasn't a reason based upon incident numbers and the types and our abilities with our personnel and our budgeting to support that. So what I did is through the federal government, I went back and modified that grant and worked on it for almost 9 months and was able to come up with a boat that's $164,000. Next slide, please. The boat you see up there now, that's the current fire rescue boat that the Port Huron Fire Department uses. It's a 16-foot 6-inch rigid hull inflatable. It's called the Hurricane 472. It was purchased in 1997. I believe used, but I'm not sure. The estimated repair cost, depending on the electronics, and with the electronics we need today, is $45,000. So just to replicate that boat, the same boat that we have now, through the dealer is $45,000. Next slide, please. As you can see, it's extremely limited for patient or victim care. We can't fit a backboard in it. Candidly, all you can fit generally is the 2 rescue personnel It's enabled to carry additional safety equipment, gear, air monitoring, SRT equipment, or absorbent booming that we may be able to utilize in a time of emergency. And it has very limited space for first responders and crew. Next slide, please. That current craft has 9 patches. Some patches are patched on top of patches on the inflatable collar. The collar alone, just to replace the collar, as you see, is almost $10,000. Candidly, I would be taking that boat out of service and disposing of it through sale or some other thing, because it's not seaworthy for me to put personnel into it. I can't, in good conscience, continue to put people out on the St. Clair River, out in Lake Huron, anywhere else in a boat that I know has 9 holes in it and they've been patched numerous times. Next slide, please. What we're proposing to buy, and what I spec'd out, we came up with, is a 23-foot, 8.5-foot beam, 12-person capacity rescue craft or rescue interdiction craft. We can use it for rescue and patrol along both rivers and Lake Huron when needed. It's aluminum hull with a rubberized safety collar for durability. It'll have all police, fire, W&D, and hazmat response capabilities, and the equipment's included. It will be able to transport people from the waterways to the shore. Now, one of the things that I wanted you to be aware of is over the last 3 years, there was 59 incidents of response that the Port Huron Police and Fire Department responded to out on the waterways. Of those 59, I believe at least 50 of those, we were the first responding agency. So out of 59, 50 of them were generally around 3 minutes and 21 seconds, and that's from a shore-based operation. That's pretty good. So one of the questions that Mr. Harris asked me about, well, isn't this a redundancy? A lot of people think there's a lot of resources out there, and there are, but those resources are dedicated in a bunch of different manners. Just so you're aware, I had to get the captain of the port from Cleveland and Detroit to approve this, the captain of the port from the United States Coast Guard from Port Huron and the Hollyhock. I also had to get the Sheriff's Department to write a letter, which they agreed, and all the other departments in this area recognizing the need for this service. The Sheriff has 110 miles of coastline that he has to patrol with 5 boats. Air and Marine for Cpb and Border Patrol, generally their boats are sporadic and during daytime operation, but because of budget shutdowns and downfalls, they've been very limited. They don't respond to rescue operations. The only one that respond generally are, if he's in the area, the Sheriff, but generally be Port Huron Fire and Police and the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard has to go through a number of different protocols before they actually send out and they determine which piece of equipment goes out. Not knocking the Coast Guard. They're the first-rate organization, and their area of expertise is obviously all the Great Lakes and down into St. Clair shores, where they meet up with the next station. So I don't think this is a redundant purchase. I think this is a needed purchase. We've opened up our waterways and our marinas and everything. We market this as a blue water area. We ask people to come here and spend money, enjoy the water, the beaches, the boating community, to bring money in there. And part of that responsibility in doing that is also providing them safety or rescue services. You know, we've proven in the past that that is a continuing need. You know, we have those type of incidents day in and day out, even, you know, as we get towards the colder weather. They still exist. People fishing become incapacitated, or somebody may decide to take their life and jump over the rail or something like that. Those are the type of things we deal with day in, day out. Next slide, please. The current grant that I plan on spending is $164,080.53. I've got an in-kind match of approximately $40,000 over the 3 years, which includes dockage, training, wages, and fuel, but I've been able to divide that up. Next slide, please. Oh, that's it.
That's it.
On the match, it's approximately $41,000. When I first got this boat grant modification, I was told it was dead in the water the way it sat as an original fireboat. I've gone out in the community, and I've gotten Atchison Ventures, Jim Atchins, who's a very big lover of the water, to donate $20,000 to this cause because he believes that this is a needed service in the water area, and it sends a message to people that want to come here. In addition, I have to order this vessel by the end of November in order to get it hopefully by August. It takes that long to outfit it and ship it from Washington State. I'm hoping, but our cost would then be $21,000. By the time the boat arrives, and over the last portion of the grant, I hope to be able to meet the $21,000 that we would need through other donations, departmental funds. As an example, the police and fire budgets over the last year, I saved $133,000 in our budgets between both departments. So if we can allocate money to the budgets, use some other funds that I have available, and go to the community, I'm hoping that I can cover the good portion of that other $21,000. $21,000 for a boat that meets our capabilities, meets our needs, and will last us hopefully another 20 years like this one did, or we can spend $45,000 for the same boat that we have now that doesn't meet any of our needs and doesn't meet our capabilities. If the council chooses not to invest in this, we'll be out of the rescue business. Questions?
Thank you. Is there anyone on council who has questions for the chief?
Mayor Rupp?
Councilmember Ruiz.
If we did not have this vote, and you cited a time of 3 minutes and 29 seconds, I think, something like that, for time to respond to some of these incidents, what's the time for other agencies?
Depending on where the sheriff's boat at, if he's in Algonac or Marine City or somewhere relatively close,
Obviously
you
not.
might get...
How about Coast Guard?
Depending upon the protocols and what crafts are out, if they're not out on doing other duties, generally there's smaller boats. They can generally last between 12 and 14 minutes.
Do any of the other communities between here and St. Clair County Waterways, do any of them have any rescue boats?
Yes. Excuse me. Clay Township has a rescue boat, and I believe some of the fire departments in the further part of the county also have rescue boats. The biggest one would be Clay Township. This one would be smaller than Clay's. But Clay has 39 outlying islands that they also have to patrol. The only things I didn't mention, but it's probably worth mentioning, is that we sponsor or are part of a number of water-based activities. Blue Water Fest, the Float Down, offshore powerboat races. All these events, I don't know if you're aware, we ask other communities to come here to let us use their boats. We pay for that. I have to take it out of our budget, and we pay them back for fuel, or we pay them back what the cost is to use their equipment. So I would hopefully not have to do that in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Chief Reeves?
Mayor Rapp,
Yes, Councilmember Miller.
I'd just like to compliment the chief on a good job. I opposed this originally, but I think you've done your homework. I think you've saved the taxpayers money, and I'm sure you'll come up with a remainder match, and therefore I'll support it this time. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other discussion, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Moeller,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski,
Yes.
Mayor Rupp.
Yes. That concludes our regular agenda. Before I open up, if anybody else has anything to say, we have a couple of issues coming up in the next couple of weeks which are important, very important, not that, is the housing recommendations and proposed ordinances which will be before us at the, I believe, the next meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then also McMorrin report that we need to address. So, but after that, I guess I'm going to suggest to the council if they'll look at their calendars. I think it's a good time for us to get together and kind of look at our priorities for the next year. So the week of either December 16th or the week of January 6th. If you want to look at your calendars and perhaps call the city manager's office and ask for Pat and give her your dates and see which dates everybody can come up with to have a meeting. So. And we can discuss future things. And I'll open it up if there's anyone else on council who has anything they'd like to say. If not, we will adjourn.
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember
we
Ashford.
received these just before the meetings. Does the chief plan to address this in any way, or is this just for reading material only?
This is reading material. I supply the council off and on with information about emergency management. As we get into the winter months, we tend to have storms and stuff like that. Want to understand the response protocols, and recently last year we changed over our emergency management, we gave it to the county and saved some money, and I want you to understand the process that we went through. So as we go through that, I'll be sending you material as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Meeting adjourned.